I think photography is a wonderful way to explore the world and to see different cultures, especially in the kind of photography that I do. But there's many different kinds of photography one could do. They can do fashion or sports or news or still lifes or landscapes. But I think for me, it's been a great adventure to travel the world and to photograph and to be able to see so many interesting places. So I would highly recommend it, except that it takes a lot of work and a lot of effort and a lot of discipline. So if you're ready for commit to that, then I would say, welcome. Actually, I don't think I think styles and ways of shooting do change. I think we perhaps see in a different way. Maybe we use different camera equipment. So I think my style perhaps has changed slightly because we're influenced by so many things in life. I think our personalities change slightly, but fundamentally I'm still interested in travel. I'm still interested in seeing the world. I'm still interested in different cultures. So my way of working, I think, has remained the same. Perhaps I see, hopefully, better, and I see things in a slightly different way, but hopefully that's in a better way. I was doing an assignment for National Geographic magazine in 1984, and I was doing it was on the Afghan-Pakistan border. I was one morning in a refugee camp walking by myself, and I noticed some voices coming from one of the tents in the camp. So I kind of wandered over, went inside, and spoke to the teacher if I could look around and maybe photograph. And I noticed this one little girl in the corner with these amazing eyes, and this really pretty little girl. So I had to ask the teacher if I could photograph her, get permission. And so I spent maybe 15 minutes in that school. This little girl had never been photographed before. This was the first time in her life she had been photographed. And I think that part of her look, part of that amazing look that she has in her eyes is partly because, she was a refugee, she was an orphan, but also this was the first time she was meeting a foreigner and the first time she was being photographed. So I think she was very curious, very bewildered, and a bit curious about what was going on. And so it was about 17 years later, in 2002, that we had gotten so many requests and questions and people writing in and asking who is this girl? How can we help her? What happened to her? So we decided, National Geographic TV crew, we went back to try and locate her. I was very confident. I was very sure that it would be impossible to find her because we didn't have her name, we didn't know her tribe, we didn't know anything about her. But we went back anyway, and just by a kind of a miracle, we found the teacher who had been in the school the day that I had photographed her originally. And through that contact, we were able to find her brother, and from her brother, we were able to find her. So it was like a really an incredible chance to actually see her again, because she could have been anywhere in Afghanistan, but in fact, she was living only a few miles from the camp where I had originally photographed her.
You have also exhibited your photographs in Afghanistan, in Kabul and Herat. What was the reaction of the Afghan people?
Well, my exhibition in Afghanistan was more of a cultural nature. We weren't really looking at it as far as a country at war or a political look. It was more of a cultural look in the people and their lifestyle, their customs, and the Afghan culture in general. So I think it was very well received. I think Afghans, Afghans are like people anywhere. They have, they love their family and their friends, and they like to live a normal life. So I think that they were very happy to have something which was positive and a kind of a respectful look at their culture. I covered conflict and wars in the early part of my career throughout the late 70s, the 80s, and part of the 90s. But I've kind of, in a way, there's so much to see and to do in life that there was other things I wanted to photograph, other places I wanted to go. I've been very interested in Buddhism, and I've traveled to Tibet and Burma and places in Asia. So although geopolitical areas of conflict are very interesting to me, there's other things in life too that I want to photograph and to experience while I'm still in this world. Well, I would be very happy and honored if people would come to see this exhibition. I think it represents much of my best work. I think it's an interesting look at the world that we live in, the good part and the bad part. And I'd like to also thank my good friends at Lavazza for helping to launch this in Sudas 57 and Civitas. So I think it's, I'm very proud of the work and how it's presented here. And there's also a very serious Italian component. I spent many months this year photographing Italy. I was in Sicily and Venice and different parts of Rome and Milan, different parts of this amazing country. So I've always loved coming to Italy, and it was a great opportunity to photograph, do some serious work here. So I'm very proud of the exhibition.